I'm not even gonna say my opinions about. I don't want to be called a pig.
You gotta be careful.
I just think Kelly Loeffler. That's a beautiful senator. Kelly Loeffler. I think I can fix her.
Yeah, she just hasn't, hasn't met the right man.
Yeah, her hairless husband. Her hairless husband has goaded her into insider trading and conservative politics, but she needs like a nice boy.
Yeah,
I feel the same way about Callista Gingrich.
Yeah, with bisexual athleticism, who's not bisexual, but is in fact sees the good in her.
Yeah. Yeah, to queer bait her into being a good person.
Yeah.
I love Callista Gingrich. I love her.
Yeah, what a frigid
First
bitch.
of all, she is a bird.
Oh, yes.
Like, she's actually a cockatiel.
Yeah.
That is an amazing look. Only Cindy McCain might be more bird-like.
She's like one of those birds that you're like, oh yeah, dinosaurs still exist. You know what I mean?
Just walking around, just stalking, you know?
Amber, sending a Callista Gingrich pic to the chat right now.
It's so awesome that her name is Callista Gingrich. Like that's like a name that a Japanese RPG creator
it's a Cruella
would think that an American would have.
Yeah.
All right, we got to name one of the women. Yeah, Callista Gingrich. That sounds right.
One of my first big trolls was I pretended to be her on Twitter for like a month, and like some woman. Some Catholic woman from like Pennsylvania like DM'd me like, "Hey, can I get a job working at the Vatican Embassy, please?" And so I had them call the piss line for YKS, and like basically explain like, "Hey, I'm so and so. I used to work for such and such conservative politician. I really want to make America great again with Callista and like with Ms. Gingrich. Sorry." And like bring the Vatican and the United States closer together in Rome, like the most psycho shit. I'm so happy that I trolled her like that.
We went on some like one of the many like baffling family vacations we went on when I was a kid. We went to like Arizona with my friend from 6th grade when I was like 11, and my dad like I came to like lunch one day and my dad was like, Newt Gingrich was right over there. And he pointed to a table, and he was talking about how the Republicans are going to win forever because of the war on terror. And I was like, he had a habit of just not knowing who people were, so I think he just saw some like fat Arizona guy. He was like, yeah, that's Newt Gingrich, fucking asshole.
Yeah, just all obese white goyish Republicans run together for him.
Yeah. They do all look alike. Like they have the same.
There's an energy,
it's
definitely.
Like garbage bags full of coleslaw. Just
yeah. My mom said like the most apt thing ever about that type of person, where she called them like pig-faced, and it's true.
Yeah.
Like they do have like a pig-like face.
There's like clean animals.
There's kind of a raw pork thing to it. Hence the gammon. Like there's an overlap.
Yeah.
It's a very porcine.
Like ground beef texture.
Yeah.
People got a little too epic with the gammon thing, but there are like very ham-like people. Like it's true.
Why don't we officially kick off the show? Welcome to your Chapo Trap House. This is the Chapo to Fash pipeline.
Oh yes.
Longtime listeners of the show will be aware of the fact that when we made the decision to bring on Amber and Virgil, it was because we needed a sort of like a thinly veiled, shield to launder some of our more noxious opinions through tokens. So continuing that tradition, I'd like to bring on two more tokens who will hopefully express some bash beliefs that I can't get away with as a CIA agent. It'd just be a little too obvious.
Yeah, like as you know, this is a Nazi podcast. We know it's a Nazi podcast because I'm on it. We've had Brace on. Some of the biggest Nazis are often Jewish people, and it's often
tokens, as you would call
Protestant. Only Protestants are actually not Nazis. Those are the only people who aren't. They're the only people who can find them.
So joining us today are the Seeking Derangements boys. It's Ben Mora and the man we simply know as Sweet Palma. Welcome.
Like Cher.
Welcome
Hello,
to the pipeline. Welcome to the pipeline. Welcome to the rat line.
So happy to be sliding down that pipeline.
Y'all trying to get the pipeline?
Yeah.
Hit us up. Well, it's a Monday afternoon here, and I love to start off the day and start off the week already irate, deranged, and resigned to absolute misery. Of course, talking about the first thing I saw when I woke up this morning is that New York State has removed Bernie Sanders from the ballot line for the Democratic primary when they finally do hold it. So I will not even get a chance to symbolically vote for Bernie Sanders. Thank you, Andrew Cuomo. And I just, originally, I said, when the day he suspended his campaign, Cuomo announced that, by the way, everyone will get a vote by mail ballot if you want one. We're going to keep this safe. And now they're saying, well, we're not even going to do that because it's too dangerous or something. Now they've discovered that making people vote during a pandemic is dangerous after letting Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida,
Yeah.
Several of the biggest states in America go through with in-person voting during these primaries.
Well, the thing is, if people get that ballot at home and see Bernie Sanders' name, they might, because they're at home, they might go on their personal computers and Google Bernie Sanders and find his rape essay and do all those things.
Yep.
So I understand.
But this is demoralizing. I mean, I was already feeling pretty bad, but
It's just adding insult to injury.
Well, I mean, so Bernie was only, because he suspended his campaign, he was only going to pick up congressional delegates anyways, right? We weren't going to get any state delegates.
Yeah.
And it's nice that people can still, go vote for Bernie. We can still get, a raw vote total there. But, ultimately, we're going into this convention with way less leverage than we had in 2016 and really wouldn't have picked up much more in New York. It's fucked up that they can even just do this. I mean, are they saying it's because of Corona, or are they saying it's because...
Yeah,
I haven't looked into
saying,
Yeah.
yeah. So they're saying, A, it's not worth the risk, and B, it's just because he suspended his campaign, it's just, for show anyway, so might as well just take his name off the ballot.
Yeah.
They're
I'm glad
arguing,
they finally
okay,
did this
so-
after the curve kind of flattened in New York. I'm glad they waited so long for them to announce this. They had months and months and months to do this, and absolutely nothing happened. It's been a month since Bernie's campaign kind of bit the dust, and even still they hadn't.
Yeah.
They had months to come up with an alternative to vote from home
But
or
the
something like
fact
that.
that they're at this point so comfortable just being look, we are going to also now stop pretending like there's
Yeah.
any kind of overture towards a democracy now. Let's just stop pretending. We all knew that, but now I feel like maybe just because we're so beaten down, they're weirdly comfortable being yeah, we're just not going to have a primary. We'll say it's because of a disease.
Yeah, one too many people excited to vote. We've got we can't let that happen.
Well, I switched my registration to Democrat. I told all my followers in New York to do that, and just doing the math of how many of my followers can actually do anything at all. I'm assuming out of 160,000 people, we got 6 people who did that. My followers who were able to go to the DMV website without spilling coffee directly into their PC tower that they got with their bar mitzvah money. I'm not switching my registration back. I'm gonna do with this what I do with most things in my life. I'm gonna use it spitefully, and I will vote for the worst candidates in the Democratic primaries in New York.
Yes,
I will vote for just members of the mafia who are just trying to launder money through a campaign. I will vote for borough presidents who have been accused of misconduct since 1989. I'm gonna fucking tank it. I'm gonna take it until the Republican candidates in New York who are just named Cristiano Imbeziliano to win elections. I don't care. Who gives a shit?
I mean, what is it? People can be oh, well, you can still write Bernie in. I mean, that's it, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so fucking depressing.
Well, I mean, it's
It's so cucked. It's you might as well just write in the jerk store.
Yeah, write in Larry Summers.
yeah.
Right in Ted Kaczynski.
Okay, no, but I let me suggest an alternative. There maybe you won't have to write in anyone at all. Maybe there will be someone on the ballot line who's not Bernie Sanders, who all people of good conscience can still pull the lever for.
Ooh, Tulsi
Yes.
Gabbard?
Yeah, Tulsi.
Yes.
Queen.
Yeah, the establishment is afraid of Tulsi Gabbard's
Tulsi,
message.
unsuspend your campaign, please, Queen.
The establishment
it's not-
is afraid of Tulsi Gabbard's message that Republicans and Democrats should work together and that you should vote for Joe Biden.
No,
Man.
it's not Tulsi Gabbard, but it is someone who served. I'm talking, of
Ooh,
course,
Deval Patrick.
about former Minnesota Governor Jesse
right.
Ventura. Jesse
Yes.
Ventura,
Hell
who
yes.
is currently
Yes.
he's dipping one of his very very large toes into the pool of seeking the Green Party nomination. So bye bye to the loser Howie Hawkins. Hello to just sexual Tyrannosaurus Jesse the Body of Ventura. I think that his candidacy is one that, like as I said, as William F. Buckley said of Joseph McCarthy, is one that all men of virtue and conscience can rally around.
Well, WWE-related politicians are 1 for 1 right now at winning the presidency. Right, we got
So-
Donald Trump and that motherfucker right now. So, I think for Jesse, chances are looking good.
I
Yeah,
just think
yeah.
America, since Bernie has gone away, we're feeling sort of rudderless, and we need a leader. We need like a Napoleon, an American Caesar, and Jesse Ventura. Are his politics perfect? No, but he does have celebrity, and
Yeah.
that's I think good enough.
Yeah, Howie Hawkins has the vibe of, like a nice guy who's always recommending you books. He works at the bookstore not because he needs the money, but he just likes hanging around. He misses his kids who all go to Bard. Like he seems like a sweet guy, but it's like sorry.
His name
like,
is Howie.
Yeah, his name is Howie. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I need a ultra powerful god of a man. I need one of the two men to ever take a dub off Chris Kyle.
Yep.
Like,
No, we
please
don't.
give me that.
The
man.
era of nice guys is over.
Yeah, there's
we
no
need a
precedent.
guy who has defeated Chris Kyle in both life and death, and that man is Jesse Ventura. I mean, we could do a lot worse. So
People don't know this. Yeah, people don't know this, but in that court case, one of the conditions that Ventura won was that they have to rename Chris Kyle's son Jesse Ventura Kyle. It's taken over his bloodline.
So I mean, it's just Jesse Ventura. Like, if it were a straight 1v1 with Donald Trump, we would get rid of Donald Trump. Like, we would end fascism in America.
Yes.
We would end fascism in America if Donald Trump had to face off in the squared circle against.
Yeah, there would still be a
the
push-up contest. Trump would just
Yeah.
absolutely lose.
So, like I said, Jesse Ventura, I will be supporting you. I'm rooting for you, brother. Open door policy if you want to come into the House and find a sympathetic ear for your candidacy. I've already been on your show, so Jesse, please come on mine. So speaking of New York State and Andrew Cuomo, our governor here, I got a little something for you I'd like to share. This comes courtesy of Gothamist. I saw this last week. Headline: Andrew Cuomo's story about a Kansas farmer shows why he's the Don Draper of politics.
Yeah, you mean
Mad Lib.
like the Don Draper of politics, just an inveterate liar.
Yeah, a liar.
Right.
His name is actually not Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah.
He's an alcoholic, and
Yeah.
but he loves his damn daughter. He loves
Yeah.
his freaking daughter.
I
So I was gonna.
pierced nipples,
Yeah, like Don Draper.
like Don Draper. If Don Draper was alive in the 80s, he would have gotten pierced nipples for sure. Yeah.
So I wasn't aware of this Kansas farmer story. So he goes here. At his daily briefings, there's a moment when Governor Andrew Cuomo becomes Don Draper in the boardroom, selling everyone in there on whatever he needs to do that day. It's a comparison I've made before, and it happens when the governor pivots to the personal opinions portion of his slideshow. If Mayor Bill de Blasio is Don Draper having a meltdown during a Hershey's pitch, Cuomo is Draper masterfully driving grown men to tears over a slide carousel.
Have these guys ever seen anybody else like give a presentation before, or like just Don Draper? Like, did they skip college?
Like in this sort of metaphor, though, that would make the coronavirus the Kodak company.
Right.
So it goes here. Like everyone else, I'm struggling how to assess his performance. At the end of the day, he's a politician. Is he trying to sell you on his own humanity through other people's humanity? Maybe. Has he done everything right? Nope. Can you criticize him for past and current sins? Sure. But he is proving himself to be a good consoler in chief, as further evidence today when he dedicated a portion of his press briefing to reading a letter from a farmer in Kansas. And the letter is as such. My grandmother on my
you Dago walk.
You.
Fuck
you.
Dear Mr. Cuomo, I have long been against the Italians. In Kansas, we do not have your exotic pepperonis. We just put the brownest beef on our pizzas.
So he says the Kansas farmer writes, my grandmother on my father's side, Mary, was a beautiful woman, but tough. She was New York tough. Gone through the Depression, early immigrant, worked hard all her life. I would say to her, you know, Grandma met this girl, met this guy. That's really. I think is this just Joe Biden writing him a letter?
Yeah. It's Joe Biden. Joe Biden had a dream where he was a farmer in Kansas. And it's like,
so he goes. She would say, "Nice. How do you know they're nice? It's easy to be nice when everything is nice." I said, "Grandma, what does that mean?" She said, "You know when they're nice? When things get hard. That's when you know if they're nice. You really get to see people and get to see their character when things get hard. It's almost as if the pressure just forces their character and the weaknesses explode or the strengths explode, and that's what we've gone through." I'm really glad he read this letter on one of his. It's beautifully composed, but he goes and then he goes, "And the clincher, and Sharon." And then Cuomo says of this, "You want to talk about a snapshot of humanity? You have 5 masks. What do? You keep all 5? No. You send 1 mask to the New York nurse or a doctor. How beautiful is that? I mean, how selfless is that? How giving is that? It's that love and courage and that generosity of spirit that makes this country so beautiful and makes Americans so beautiful. Take 1 mask, I'll keep 4. God bless America."
I would
Oh my
literally
God.
rather get a pipe bomb in the mail than
That is the worst
have to
fucking.
read that.
Like, first of all, I don't believe this children's letter to Santa Claus thing.
no.
Like, that's it. There's no way. But
If
if
anything,
that
he
was
was, like, a
true,
big
that
fan
would
of
be the
his-
saddest thing in the world.
If anything, like I guess he must have been like a really big fan of Cuomo's work for his dad in 1977 during the mayoral race, where Mario Cuomo did the "Vote for Cuomo, not the Homo."
Yeah. Great slogan.
Yeah.
Great slogan.
Yeah,
All time.
The homo was Ed
it-
Koch, by the way, in case anyone was confused about that.
King.
Yeah,
King and Koch.
you know that this letter isn't authentic because of like the little axiom they give towards the beginning, where like it was clear that this letter was written by like a 28-year-old who's had 10 unpaid internships and like
This letter was written by the guy.
went to the fucking new school to like major in
Pablum.
it's like a thing you can major in
Felix,
there.
actually, the letter was written by the guy who runs the Steakums account.
Yeah, that guy. I'm not even. Don't want to get started on that guy.
That guy is so cool.
Yeah,
He rocks.
he's awesome. He's.
I want what he
I
has.
need Morrissey to. Morrissey just has to do one interview where he isn't racist to destroy the Steakums guy.
He can't, though.
Yeah, he can't. But like, I want Morrissey to call him like the Goebbels of the cow holocaust. That would be awesome. But yeah, the axiom in that letter is so clearly just written by some piece of shit who's like both parents are like visual artists or some crap. Because it's like just imagining what a Kansas simpleton would say. Like, it's nice to be good, but it's good to be nice. Like,
And by the way-
that guy wouldn't. The only reason that guy would write a letter to Cuomo is because he thought like Cuomo is going to be the future super governor of like an NWO super state, and he's like, you are not going to give my daughter septum piercings, as is your tradition in New York.
Yeah, and I, not to be uncharitable, but if I had a wife who had diabetes and only 1 lung, I'd hold on to the extra N95 mask.
Yeah, your wife's gonna die,
myself.
dude.
I don't know, like.
Yes.
I mean, I support, obviously all the nurses and doctors in New York. I clap for them. I clap my cheeks for them at 7:00 every day. But yeah, like the letter writer here should maybe consider holding on to just one extra mask.
Yeah,
I think
Kanye
actually
West.
the nurses and doctors would recommend that they keep that mask.
Yeah. To quote Kanye West, dead wife contest, you in first place. Yeah, no, it's like, also Cuomo's not going to give that mask to a doctor or anyone. He's like pure antipathy for like anyone who's below him, and that's evidenced by him cutting Medicaid during this.
Yeah.
Cuomo grabbed that mask and put it directly in the trash. Just didn't even look at it. He's like, oh, what's this tchotchke? And then just immediately disposed of it.
Framed it and put it up on his wall to be like, this sweet, dumb, low IQ Kansan sent this to us. Isn't that so nice?
Yeah. Thank you for your corn totem, simpleton. Like, if it's an actual N95, like Cuomo's like at the end of the day like an overbearing Italian asshole. So he like probably gave it to one of his daughters who he has an ankle monitor on. So she doesn't. I mean, you know what Italian guys hate. But bellissimo, this is from my Principia. She has she has all the masks in New York.
Speaking of pulling on the heartstrings, I mean, obviously, great humanitarian that Andrew Cuomo is. Actually, Alec Baldwin asked him the other day, why he doesn't let more people out of the death house that is Rikers Island right now. And he responded by saying, I suppose we should let out all the violent criminals. Or like, what are you
going to open up your house, Alec? You're going to let them
exactly.
live in your daughter's bedroom? You're going to call him a piggy? Like, what are you going to do with it?
No, but I mean, yeah, like, it's just like this... this is like, he's the Don Draper of politics. If Don Draper convinced everyone that you should cut healthcare during a fucking plague and then keep people, awaiting trial for like a parole violation in like,
again, massive liar that manipulates people with like sentimental pablum. It does work.
No, yeah, absolutely. Cuomo is we're gonna have to deal with this fucking guy for I think like at least another 3 years, because like someone's like they have staying power in liberal circles when they make sexual fantasies about them, and that's how like none of them want Biden.
There's
because
no
like they're not
posts.
no one wants to get dicked down by Biden. All the
Maybe
people want to get
years ago.
All the people who want to get dicked down by Biden are just like, they don't know how to use Twitter at all.
I don't know if he is like sexually, like legally capable of consent. No. Like mentally, that would be abuse.
Well, his campaign probably has power of attorney, so if he can get his campaign to consent,
to sign off.
Simone Sanders has to sign off on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Simone Sanders is running the Fuck a Fan contest.
Yeah.
On that campaign.
I mean, like normally I would expect them to be working overtime to Chomsky and Herman's favorite, famous work, Manufacturing Horniness. I like the Dem psyops would be working around the clock to try to convince you that women are like fantasizing about being given a nice massage by Uncle Joe. But my guess is now they're probably trying not to remind people about Biden being randy at all for certain reasons, and also they're just trying not to have him be talked about at all, really. I mean, I think they have found a winning strategy, which is just like, he's the nominee on paper. It's the name you vote for, but like, he's not going to like be seen or heard from anywhere. Like, I think they're just going to try to hide him as much as possible and just think that like, maybe just like the momentum and people's just general resignation will get them across the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, don't you think so many voters have already tacitly accepted that, though? Like, a lot of Democratic voters, like, if you ask them, like, are you excited to vote for Biden? Are you going to do anything for his campaign? There's like, no, I'm not really excited, but I'm just going to vote for him because it's anyone but Trump. Like they don't care. They don't care who it is. You know what I mean? Like, they are just voting for Biden because he is like a generic Democrat. So none of them would even tune in if he was like actually appearing, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's not a factor for half of them.
I don't think they'd answer the door if Biden knocked.
Yeah, they don't give a shit.
Isn't that like, I mean, the thing that's been working, the one formula that's been working, the thing that I strayed from during the primary, later in the primary, but is actually always holds true, the funniest outcome, the funniest chaos outcome will always happen. And it's like, isn't that the funniest outcome, that just like this guy that no one fucking wants wins and becomes president?
Yeah.
And then just dies. And then he just wanders into a like thorny bush and dies of several cuts and infections. And then that's what's gonna happen, because it would be funny after all the these 4 years of fake dem enthusiasm, like you gotta resist, like pretending like they're fighting fascism or whatever, and like this shit. Like I'm excited for our great candidates. They just they're just saddled with this shitty old guy. I mean, I like Biden. You know all those articles, those breathless articles that were like, America is Trump. America is the racist outburst. The ignorance of the. I mean, America's also Biden, though. America is like a guy who's not particularly good at anything, not like kind of liked by all the right people, but not like super well liked. A guy who just got to be in the position he's in just because he's been around the longest and like probably committed a sex crime. That's also America. So it's like by the logic of those people, like, yeah, Biden will like. That's the perfect outcome, that Biden just wins without trying and campaigning, and then you never fucking see him. And then all these fucking people that flooded into party politics in the last 4 years and helped like keep this rightward shift of the party, they just evaporate.
Yeah.
Like they'll pretend to be disappointed it's not Elizabeth Warren for a while, but they don't really want to fucking do this for the rest of their lives. They're going to go back to like writing late night and fucking writing a children's book about a female district attorney. No one will fucking care. Like the culture war shit will roll back, and we'll just get like the exact same conditions.
Well, didn't
Trump
we get like Larry Summers on as like an economic advisor in like the past week?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
So
Yep.
it's clear like what's going to happen. It's just going to be another Obama administration run by the same ghouls, but minus the like actual enthusiasm and like charisma Obama was able to garner. You know. That was used to horrible ends, but like it would be so fucking depressing that we get that. But there's just like no, everyone fucking hates it. Everyone.
We're going back to 2012 without LMFAO.
Yeah. I want to talk about Larry Summers in a second, but before that, like my new favorite genre of tweet are Democrats who are, you know, like working overtime to find a way to dismiss the Tara Reid thing, but basically in their heart of hearts know it's true and have accepted it. So they say things like, even if he did do that, I'd still vote. It's like, you know, it's a sort of way of a sort of like an Freudian psychoanalysis. If you say things like, you know, well, I didn't do X, but even if I did, you know, it's sort of a tell.
There's like a
so
New
like
York Times headline that's like, we can not confirm accusations. Not.
Yeah, and you know, like this is a credit to our friend Sean Moorhead on Twitter, but he replied to one of these people who has just said, this woman said, I would vote for Biden if he raped 100 women at gunpoint.
Respect.
And Sean replied,
you have to respect someone's political convictions like that, honestly.
And Sean replied to them, surely there's something else he can do to win your vote.
No, but like it's crazy. Like they think that they're like rational for that. They think that they're like operating on some like superior like moral plane for being like, you know what, that's just how bad Trump is, and I'm willing to make some sacrifices and be an adult if that's what it takes to get the orange man out of office. It's insane. Mm-hmm. It's insane.
I mean, like certainly if you weigh that against the reasons that they gave themselves and others for why they could never in a million years vote for Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
You know, like it makes a good contrast, you know, but I mean, like, you know, like adjacent to all this shit, like is like, yeah, like announcements this week that like Larry Summers will be like the economic advisor to Joe Biden, and the guy who, if he becomes president, will be put in charge of the economic recovery caused by this next collapse of our economy. I mean, Larry Summers, just a brief refresher course for those who may not remember, is the guy who is among like probably 2 or 3 people during the Clinton years most responsible for creating the policies that led to the economic crash in 2008. Like, this is a guy who's like an ideologically like fanatical free marketer who passed all of the reforms that like deregulated derivatives, Wall Street, and like repeal of Glass-Steagall or whatever, like created the very conditions that led to the 2008 economic crash, and then was brought on by Obama in 2008 to be in charge of the bailout and recovery for the economic crash, of which he personally made sure was insufficient in how much money it was, and only went to making banks whole again, and like definitely not to like homeowner mortgage relief or anything like that. So, like this asshole, if you had to make a list of like the people, the living Americans who have done the most damage to this society, Larry Summers would be like near the top of the list, if not number one. And it's just, it's so fucking grim to just be like, this is, you know, like the classic cliche definition of insanity, but like to them, it's not insane. Like this is just, this is the goals that they want to pursue and are going to pursue. On top of that, I saw another report today that says that they're considering naming Lawrence Fink, CEO of the BlackRock Group, as Treasury Secretary under a Biden administration. So this idea that there's any any leverage to be had from like the left or progressive wing of the party, or if like make Elizabeth Warren the VP, you know, she'll keep him in check. That's what I said. I would fucking love Elizabeth Warren to be his VP, and then just be like cut off like at the fucking knees every single day by people like Larry Summers and Lawrence Fink. Yeah, it's absolutely what.
But no, really, like, what leverage do we have? Like, we like I said, we have less leverage over the party than we did in 2016. It's like we can throw a fit about it as much as we want, but like the Biden campaign is like, okay, we're getting rid of Larry Summers, and instead we're bringing on like one of those super intelligent, like psychic octopus to ask it what decisions Milton Friedman would make, and like, that's what's gonna happen. You know, like it's fucked. We have no leveraging. We have no power over this.
We're not even getting like new shitty people.
Yeah.
Like we're getting Larry. By the way, like if you're one of these people who fucking bitches about Russia all the time, no, enjoy Larry Summers, one of the men most responsible for Putin. Like fucking enjoy that. Enjoy the same cycle of absolutely just fucking scum. Yeah, who have no positive qualities, who have actually like engineered everything that you personally pretend to care about and be against. Like just they've, like Joe Biden, have been on the wrong side of everything for like 40 fucking years. Like, no, enjoy it. Fucking enjoy it.
And, you know, I should add to my thing, like the person most responsible for doing the most damage to America. He's also one of the people who's done the most damage to Russia, probably second to Adolf Hitler. Like those guys are the guys, they presided over the neoliberal reforms through the Soviet Union that like dropped the life expectancy of that country by like 10 years in a very short amount of time. So these guys, this is the wrecking crew. And like they're very out in the open about it. And I remember a Larry Summers quote that surfaced recently where he was asked about if he regards like you know, really like accelerated rates of inequality and like a vast chasm between like the ultra wealthy and everyone else. And he said, no, I don't think inequality like is a bad sign for an economy. In fact, I think growing inequality is a good sign, or just like is incorrectly interpreted as negative, when really what it reflects is the market becoming more efficient at determining the value of an individual's like worth or labor. So he's just saying that like you're all working more and making less money, while people like me are just looting everything, because actually the market has figured out that you were making too much money before, and it's sorting itself out now, so that like of course you're making less money and I'm making more. That's just the market has decided that. Like it's just all quite in the open about what these people believe.
No, and Larry Summers isn't even for girl bosses. So like everyone who said it's like sexist to not vote for Biden, like, no, I fucking enjoy that too. No, there would like that is the thing. That is the kind of thing I do think is poetic about it being Biden, is that Biden has no, like, that world has no use for any fucking shithead who sold like the very cynical employment of identity politics to browbeat people into voting for Democrats for the last 6 years, who specialize in the shit that like everyone pretended to care about for the last 6 years. Like, they have no fucking use for it. They have none. And like those people, like everyone who writes for, you know, fucking like any Condé Nast publication telling people that they're sexist and racist, they're going to be out of a job because like no one reads that shit, and the one utility it has, which is to sheepdog people into the Democratic Party, it's done. Like, Biden just wants like fat white suburbanites. Like, he might as well be going for Villages people, because what he actually like the thing he actually represents to voters, returning to normal, returning to like an America you can quote unquote respect, and global leadership, whatever the fuck that means, especially as we're collapsing as an empire and literally no one fucking respects us, and for good reason. It's as ephemeral and insane and spiritual as what the people in the Villages want. They just like they want like a more explicitly racist, you know, return to American glory, and the Biden people want like you know, something with some peons to identity and general sense of progress. But really, it's just kind of the same shit. It's kind of the same shit appealing to the same people. It's just like one group of people went to Pepperdine and one group of people went to, I don't know, fucking UMass.
It just seems like
it's the exact same shit.
It just seems like regardless of who wins this next election, what we're going to get in the face of like a global depression is like what would have happened if Herbert Hoover had like won another term.
Yeah. And we're also just going to get like the dying fever dreams of old people.
Yeah.
Who just like still think like Eisenhower's president, and anyone gives a shit about America's moral leadership. Like, the entire world just doesn't think we're this fucking idiotic old dying eunuch, which is what we are, and that everything won't just get worse. That will be but they'll die happy because they're like, we did it, we defeated the orange president, and we got Biden in there, and we made American good again, and then they'll fucking die.
If you're not depressed enough already, another story here linked to, I think this is very much in the same lane as Larry Summers' comments about like how basically markets are just getting more efficient at deciding what the value of people are. So the vast majority of people are going to be worth less. This comes courtesy of the MIT Technology Review. Felix, I know you clocked this story as well. Headline: a doctor and medical ethicist argues life after 75 is not worth living. That doctor and medical ethicist would be Ezekiel Emanual, brother of Rahm Emanuel.
King.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, either Jewish or Amish. Those are the two options there with that name.
So it says here, in October 2014, Ezekiel Emanual published an essay in The Atlantic called "Why I Hope to Die at 75." Because Emanuel is a medical doctor and chair of the University of Pennsylvania's Department of Medical Ethics and Health Policy, as well as a chief architect of Obamacare. The article stirred enormous controversy. Emanuel vowed to refuse not only heroic medical interventions once he turned 75, but also antibiotics and vaccinations. His argument: older Americans live too long in a diminished state, raising the question of, as he put it, whether our consumption is worth our contribution.
You know, he wrote that because he got mad that he got denied a table at Nobu because he was too old. It was like not high profile enough anymore.
I might as well just fucking die. Yeah. What's even the fucking point?
Yeah, he wrote that article on his phone in the coat room. He's like, no one would care if I was gone.
I want to see his tweet drafts and his text or his notes app for sure.
Prominent medical ethicist recommends filling your pockets with stones and walking into the sea because your kids are not calling you on the phone. My birthday was forgotten again. Guess I'll just die.
I didn't think about that, but that probably like is a stuff, because I don't think like anyone in the Emanuel family likes each other. Like, they're just all completely transactional dog shit people. And the moment that his kids became self-sufficient, they're just like, See you old bitch.
Also, Felix,
he literally does have nothing to live for.
Felix, I bet I bet the Emanuels are long livers, and I bet that this was sort of a subtweet about someone even older than him who they all just hate.
Oh yeah, they probably have a mom who's incredibly mean to
just
them.
really old bitchy woman who will not die.
This wouldn't have happened if he took more honors classes in high school, Rom.
No, she's still bitching about him fucking up the questions at Passover in like 1961. And he's like, actually, you need to die for society.
Why did your GPA have to be so low in high school?
I still don't like your wife, who died of old age last year.
No, but like I like the implication here that like, okay, this guy was as it says an architect of Obamacare, so that's reassuring. The Logan's Run Society was involved in crafting that wonderful healthcare reform. But also, I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Zeke Emanual probably not just supports Joe Biden, but it probably has some connection to either the campaign or Democratic politics at that level. It's like Biden is
5 times at least.
Biden is like over 75. So what is he going to say as soon as he gets in the White House? Like, hey, stop taking medicine, Jack. Oh, you have a bit of a fever? Like, just ride it out. I'm not doing anything for you. And like, are any of these assholes like I really doubt that once he crosses 75, he's not going to like suck every last drop of marrow out of like every like insane high tech medical advance that he can take advantage of, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah, they're putting him in the Master Chief suit. Like this thing like really fucking pissed me off, and the specific like there's a lot of reasons it's angering, but I think like specific reason is few people on the Democratic side have done more for austerity and center-right economics than the Emanuels. And okay, like they would talk about like the need to cut Social Security to quote unquote make sure it's solvent, to just they generally do everything they can to make the social welfare net, in their words, leaner and more efficient. But it's like, you don't even after you work forever, because they want everyone to work till they're 70, till they can literally squeeze the last bit of juice out of them. You don't even get to spend time with your family. You don't even get that. You don't even get like the last like 10, 15 years just not with the burden of work and production.
To have a second childhood, like you've done your job, you've had a career, you raised a family, like
back into records.
You don't watch your grandkids grow. Don't try to like impart into them like the lessons you learned in your life. Don't try to like make your relationship with your kids better. Just fucking die because Skeletor said that you're causing more
Felix,
to be produced now.
Here's the actual quote that's even more chilling. He's asked in this interview, what's wrong with simply enjoying an extended life? And he says here, his answer is, these people who live a vigorous life to 70, 80, 90 years of age, when I look at what these people, quote, do, almost all of it is what I classify as play. It's not meaningful work. They're riding motorcycles. They're hiking, which can all have value, don't get me wrong. But if that's the main thing in your life, that's probably not a meaningful life.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
You could probably say the same thing about people who worked in the Obama administration. Honestly,
it's literally like, why don't we just have like child labor then? Like, why? Why don't you start working when you're 4?
Pull your fucking weight. Yeah. Send them back to the mines.
When I look at the people who are enjoying life at let's say 6, 7, 8, 9 years of age, what are they actually doing? Most of they're doing Minecraft. They're picking their nose.
Also,
they're imagining things that aren't real.
They're going to
what?
school.
Increasingly, too, like senior poverty is skyrocketing. Like you see people in their 70s being fucking Walmart greeters. Like those people actually do work at horrible jobs. They have fucking shitty lives. Like that's the point. You get to sit around and be the fun grandparent that doesn't have to do any of the parenting and can just like give them like candy and soda and you just get to be worshipped, and everyone has to be nice to you because like you did your time.
Earned it. You earned it.
You fucking earned it.
earned it. Like, and it's just
but like my grandparent, like my grandmother, my one survivor, like she's had like one of the hardest lives that I've ever heard of anyone having, and it's like, yeah, she's 99 now. Like honestly, like she seems to actually enjoy life. It's like, yeah, she should get another 20 years of like getting drunk and like being mean to people.
Yes,
she rocks.
Yeah.
Like she fucking owes. She
did her time.
And it's like, but it's like, I mean, this is one of the most nihilistic fucking things I've ever heard. It's that I don't see how this is. Like this is as bad as like any of the worst shit Trump's ever said or proposed.
Yeah,
and it's like. This, you would only write this if, like, no one in your family gave a shit about you and you didn't give a shit about them. If you're a completely valueless fucking person.
I mean, what it actually is, and I'm, like, not kidding here, is social hygiene.
Yeah, it's like eugenics.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
He's suggesting that people that are not productive, and the way he describes productive is whether they're, contributing to the fatherland.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking freaky as shit.
I look forward to all of them offing themselves as soon as they turn 70.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Why don't you lead the way, buddy?
This is Nazism but instead of Hugo Boss, it's fucking bonobos.
My grandmother lived to be 98.
Instead of Mercedes.
Sorry, this is like if every SS officer had one of those like zip up vests, that all the tech guys wear now.
Hey, so I did a thing. I have to go to Nuremberg. Feeling kind of nervous.
Yeah, that's why Biden. That's why Biden is hiding right now. He's afraid of being picked up by one of the Emanuels.
But like
taken out from 78.
I think
my great grandmother, by the way, lived to be like 98 and was like very like lucid and active and happy, like right up until the very end. And one of the greatest benefits that you have to having like a multi-generational, yes, we have them young where I'm from, having like a multi-generational family is that just socially coherently, it allows you to forgive your parents and your grandparents more so. Like, people don't fucking get that. Like, because when you're a self-absorbed little shit and you're like, why is my fucking mom such a bitch? And then you meet her mom and you're like, okay. Okay. I'm going to go a little easier on you because I love grandma, but I get to be her grandchild. And why is grandma such a bitch? I got to know my great-grandma. And I'm like, I get it. Okay. Like, there is such value in having like a multi-generational family just because it makes you more sympathetic and understand other human beings. And it makes you more forgiving of how stupid and insane everyone in your family is. And you know that this be the verse and you're going to do the same thing.
And, I like Amber, I think you get it exactly right what you said earlier, that this is a form of social hygiene, basically. And what I find so disturbing about this is I really view this as them like they sort of like, and I like the Emanuel's, Larry Summers, like these are all Democratic liberal guys. These are not people from like the Heritage Foundation. These people would not be put in charge of like
liberals have always had a thing for eugenics.
I know, but like what I was saying is like this is supposedly like the good people, like not Trump. These are the people that are going to save us from Trump. And what they're basically telling you now is like, I think they're saying this kind of shit to kind of prep the battle space, to kind of prepare people like mentally for when they say, hey, like if you're under 40, if you're, under 45 and unemployed. Yeah. Where it's just like where they like Larry Summers says, where like the market will decide the value of your life. And if you're taking more than you're giving back or you're not productive, then we can be okay with you dying either of this, coronavirus or just, the million other ailments that we could help but don't. And like, we had Barbara Ehrenreich on the show a while ago who made like a kind of similar case, and I don't want to confuse the two, where she was arguing against like an over medicalization of death. And like, she said something similar, like, look, I've got to the age where like, I'm not going to seek, like, I've had breast cancer. If it comes back, like, I don't need to go through chemo again. Like I've had a good enough life, and we don't need to over medicalize death or seek treatment, like, past a certain point. But she's making a very different case than what he is, which is that like, if you're hiking and or like just having fun with your life, like that's not productive, and you shouldn't take any like even antibiotics or medicine of any kind because it's like because it's taking away from like people who like better people, more valuable people.
Aaron Reich was arguing that we should focus on quality of life rather than quantity of life. He's arguing that we should focus on I don't know, lucrativeness of life, productivity of life.
And the awful thing is like when he's saying like, oh, like, these are what these people do. Like it's just play. Like that's not a meaningful life to me. Well, it's like, who asked you, fucking asshole? Yeah. Like who? To me, that sounds like the most meaningful. Yeah, like that sounds like the most meaningful life to me. One in which you don't have to go to a fucking job every day, and you can ride a fucking bike. Like.
There's no one. I don't think there's like any prominent family in America who knows less about the meaning of life than the Emanuels. Honestly, like those parents should be actually fucking ashamed of themselves for creating such piece of shit children who have no value in human life. There's no joke here. Just a fucking rotten family who's contributed nothing but pain and ambition to the fucking world.
I mean, not to like go to Freud on it, but like the whole like thing I was talking about earlier, like the social value of living a multi-generational life and knowing people that are old and knowing people with children and having children. Like these are clearly people like that being like a facet of like human empathy. It's like, oh, now the Emanuels make so much sense when you know that. Like, it's like, okay, their parents don't love their children don't love their parents, no one likes anyone at all, and that has formed their worldview and, political ethos.
Yeah, everyone has to be just as miserable as them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hate their families just as much as they do.
Amber, you know what another benefit of a multi-generational household and being around old people is? Extra N95 mask. All right, so moving on here, I would very much like to return now to a Chapo Trap House Hall of Famer. We haven't talked about them in a while, but they came back on the scene this week in a big way, and I knew I needed to share. I'm talking, of course, about all city, all varsity columnist Megan McArdle.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yes.
And she has the Letterman jacket.
She is at my absolute favorite. My brother gave me her book, Failing Upwards, when I was in high school. And after I read it, I did not do.
Okay, I changed my mind. I'm against families now.
A single like school assignment until I graduated. Actually, until I was kicked out of high school for not doing any.
She had an amazing
any
take
work
about how noise.
That's where I'm going.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. All right, so
she's so smart, man. I love her
I
so
love
much.
her.
I would break A for her. I would absolutely. I want her to slam her cheeks in my face and like break my nose. Jesus.
To begin with, though, I should point out that like I should preface this by saying Megan started out by talking about how her own elderly father has been ejected from his like nursing home without any testing, and that like he like has had the coronavirus or something, and the nursing home isn't telling.
What, like he was bounced? Like he was feeling people up and got thrown out?
He got 86.
Shit, hold on.
Sir, you've played too much ska on the jukebox.
Right, no, so here's the context. She says, I, at elevated risk for dying of COVID, am now locked into a house with a COVID positive patient because his nursing home discharged him without retesting. If you are among those who keep saying the risk of COVID is low, I invite you to come over. We need help moving furniture.
Please take care of my father, someone. Please. I can't stand now.
So, I mean, I obviously that's a tough situation to be in for Megan, but I'm sort of surprised that she isn't coming at this with her usual sort of like contrarian, askew glance at the world, which is like at one level, it's like, yeah, it seems like that nursing home is behaving irresponsibly. But, I mean, they have responsibilities to the shareholders of the home corporation. And like, would she prefer that there just not be nursing homes?
Maybe
Like,
she's looking at it from the wrong angle. I mean, like, could he operate like a KitchenAid? Is there a way that he could like use all of her kitchen gadgets?
Maybe he'd be more valuable on the streets. He could get a broom, start sweeping up some of the garbage out there. You never know.
And also, like, I mean, obviously a lot of people are dying of coronavirus, but like, I take Megan seriously. So like, I know for a fact that maybe we shouldn't, the risk is actually low because there's a good chance they could have died of, anything else independent of the coronavirus. Like if it never happened, like, they could have got hit by a car, stung by a, hornet's nest. Like,
oh no, we have a massive outbreak of botulism, or like some 1900s disease.
Poisoned by
I'm just saying, like, look, we don't know anything. It's and then like in this crazy mixed up world, it's often very hard to tell what is right and what is wrong. And so I'm just saying, I'm a little surprised Megan is taking this tack, but I'm more surprised with the tack she takes here, where she shares this thought: this is not a scientific assessment, just an idle speculation. I'm glad she prefaces. I'm glad she uses that qualifier to bring this up.
She's just spinning in her wheels, Yeah. She's just blasting you out.
So
there's no bad ideas in brainstorming.
Don't keep yourself down,
her.
Queen. You're a genius. Please.
She is.
DM me.
I feel about her like I feel like about like guys feel about Mariah Carey now. Like compared to like following
Go on.
like following fucking the zero quality Zeke Emanual with it. Like I love her because she's never succeeded at anything. Yeah. She sucks at everything. Like even like her marriage like sucks. But she's like every day she goes out there and she's like, what if the thing killing people with coronavirus was that they were cursed by a wizard? She's writing her articles. I love her.
This is like she's like the non-practicing Catholic version of the Emanuels. Like that transposed into like, oh, you learned about Jesus or whatever in grade school and then like never followed up. Yeah, so good.
So she goes here, please take it in that light, the light of idle speculation. But she says here, looking at all the infections at choir practice, soccer games, restaurants, etc., what if one big problem is noise? This would also help explain why NYC happened so fast. Okay. Continuing, interesting, would like to know more. And she says here, as I say, this is completely idle speculation. I am just noodling what policy recommendations might come out of a discovery that noise spreads COVID. Do we redesign restaurants to be like those 1950s places with drapery everywhere instead of cool industrial vibe? Does noise pollution become a bigger priority? And then she says, sorry, to be clear, noise is a problem because when it is noisy, people raise their voices to be heard, which facilitates droplet transmission. I'm not suggesting that, like, noise gives you COVID.
She's like, do we invest billions into tin cans connected by a string? Place them at every table in restaurants so people can...
This is why I love her, is because, like, she's one of the, like, most articles we read, it's just, like, no one's even fucking trying. They're just droning along on the keyboard until they get their paycheck. But McArdle is special. Like, I feel about these columnists that we follow. Did you ever watch Sniper with Tom Berenger?
Of course. And Billy Zane.
Yeah, okay. You know the part where Berenger is like, yeah, if you watch these targets long enough, you kind of grow to like them because you see their routine, like you see how their uniqueness as people, and sometimes you have to like tell stories about them in order to pull the trigger. And that's how I feel about her. And I love her specifically because she's one of the only columnists who actually tries. It's just like her try is so shitty because she's such a like dumb fail person. But it's like, this is like the regular conservative article about Corona would be like, oh, it's like not really happening, or like we need to like just to protect the economy. But like this is so fucking stupid. It rocks. It's like using her logical pathways, like you could write an article about mass shootings that are like, most mass shootings happen in places of learning, so we have to like make schools worse.
No, Felix, Felix, wait. Felix, you bring up the school thing, but she said just the other week, she's like, wow, like we haven't had a school shooting in a while. Like what's the deal with that? Or like she's applied, like, is COVID leading to a decline in school shootings? And it's just like, well, yeah, all the schools are closed. That's
I love her.
That's why. But so like a couple of people tried to test this theory here, and she had answers for everything.
I like, though, that, by the way,
She always does.
one of the things that I really like about this is that she continually tries to bring whatever is going on into her wheelhouse. Like, she has kind of an inductive reasoning way of thinking where she's like, look, I'm not like a medical science person, but you know what? Curtains. What about curtains? If curtains are the solution, maybe I'm the girl to write a column about it.
Yeah. And again, just like with all these people, like with, Larry Summers or the scientist who wants people to die at 75, go ahead. Be the first one, Megan. Shut the fuck up. Never talk again. Like, just go for it, please.
Yeah. To a woman with a Crate and Barrel catalog, like every problem just requires curtains.
Yeah. Megan, do not listen to him. You're a fucking queen. Don't try to fit in a world where you were born to stand out. I love you.
So, like I said, like a few people tested this theorem here, and the first one is, I love this, an account just titled "Marketplace Fairness."
Yes.
It says
that's my alt. Sorry.
It says
you have so many.
They say here, nursing homes aren't exactly raucous, noisy places. I'd probably delete this one, but you know what? They did an attack, counterattack. Senior citizens, however, are often hard of hearing, so people stand close to them and talk real loud. Boom.
Hold that. Damn.
This is
Clap back.
Ether.
Clap back of the ears. Sis spilled.
I get now why Felix loves her. Anytime you point out that Felix says something ridiculous, he is able to argue how it is. How, like, well, trains are a kind of architecture. Like, this is Megan has the same thing. And she's got that touche energy where she's just,
She needs to like join the circus or something. Like I really just feel like her talents are just like being wasted.
She's really good at thinking on her feet.
Yeah.
I love her.
So here's the best one though. Like I thought, like, so another guy says, but funerals are also big sweaters, and they are quiet and solemn. Good point. Let's hear the riposte. Depends on the culture. The funeral itself may be
Yeah.
The funeral
like shivas.
The funeral itself may be solemn, or there may be a lot of singing, etc. And the after party can be very crowded, social, etc. This is Megan doing anti-Irish bigotry. She is against Irish wakes. She's trying to say that getting drunk and spitting whiskey into your uncle's mouth is some kind of super spreader behavior. And I would really appreciate it if she deleted that one, Chief.
Yo, we got to deplatform
her. And also, I like the could noise be the killer. I have to credit Jacob Bacharach with this one, but she has reverse engineered the probably the least successful David Lynch alteration to the Dune narrative, which of course is the invention of the killing word and the weirding way, where the yes.
Yeah, when Megan was a child, her mom came into her room with a typewriter. No woman-born child has ever written an article this shitty.
So there you go. Just stop washing your hands, but please whisper in public. If we're gonna get on top of this thing, let's just use your library voice, people.
I am glad we closed with Meg. She fucking rocks. I felt like so bad after that Zeke Emanual thing, and now I'm like, there's still beauty. Yeah,
there's some light. There's some light at the end of the tunnel.
Shine on, you crazy diamond.
I love her.
My mood has gotten like immeasurably better after hearing that. Lovely.
Yeah,
she's still out there tanking it easy for all us sinners.
And I just like I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but the last time Megan dipped her toe into like big time like healthcare issues, aside from to argue against universal healthcare of any kind, it was this piece in the Washington Post. I'm just gonna read the headline. What if we paid people to donate their kidneys to strangers?
God
She's
damn.
so cool. No, every week Brett Stevens writes an article that's like the pomposity of the liberal hexagon, and it's like everyone screenshots and gets mad at it, but he's not trying. Like, he's just like a shitty thinker, and like the only thing he can think of is like stuff that will make people who are obsessed with newspapers annoyed. But Megan like actually thinks she can help the world, and she's trying as hard as she can. It just sucks.
Yeah, sorry.
So I really like it.
Did I ever do, by the way, my Megan physical insult on here?
Oh, let's hear it.
Lisa, damaged frontal lobe. I might have done that on a previous episode, but she's got the glasses.
Amber, I think that Amber and Lucy need to do a podcast with just making fun of people's appearance.
That would be the whole thing. Just physical insults all day.
Yeah, that'd be
I'm sorry. I got to read just a little of this. I'm going to read just the beginning and end here. So again, what if we paid people to sell their kidneys?
What if?
What if a simple policy could save tens of thousands of people every year from a deeply unpleasant treatment followed by death? A policy that would disproportionately help the most disadvantaged while actually saving taxpayer money. Tell me more, Megan.
Stop chewing that loud. Jesus Christ, lady. Get a fucking grip.
And then at the end, I mean, like her answer is in pure libertarian reasoning here is to create a new competitive market for your organs. So she closes by saying, like soldiers, kidney donors accept some risk of bodily harm. If paying them outright is too repugnant, why not treating them like veterans with similar hiring preferences, scholarships, and so forth? Undoubtedly, some people would donate for the wrong reasons, just as some people foolishly enlist. Yet that risk still seems preferable to leaving so many desperate dialysis patients dependent on the kindness of strangers. No, they should be dependent on my need for a college scholarship.
Yeah. Get like a JROTC program in high schools, but just be like, hey, kids, you don't really need your kidney.
You can, one is just fine.
You can totally go
two.
without it. Yeah.
Like, even... Doesn't that still cut like a good chunk of your life off? You can still live for a while, but like it's biting a big chunk off the end there.
Serious, yeah.
Well, also, and like organ transplants are kind of not super perfected. Like, even if they go really, really, really well, and you find someone who is a match, and your body doesn't like reject it, which is difficult to do. Like, there's a good chance that maybe that donor kidney will last maybe 2 or 3 years. Like, I don't know. I also kind of think that maybe people are pretty good about organ donation. Like, I don't really think like the profit incentive is going to it's just a little box that you check at the DMV now.
You say that, Amber, and like certainly I would donate a kidney to you. But let's say the kidney didn't take, and you died. I wasted a kidney. Seems bad, right? But I will have gotten a tax credit that I can file on next year's return that would, allow me to purchase healthcare at a slightly discounted
a Switch,
rate,
a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, exactly. I can get a Nintendo Switch. I can get a voucher
that just says like kidney donor.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, I mean, like my thing is that whatever. I'm an organ donor. I'm an organ donor and everything, and people should be, but like. She seems to be under the impression that like there are all these people dying all the time, despite having perfectly good, there's a bunch of compatible kidneys just lying around that people just aren't even using. Like, that's kind of not how it works.
Well, once again, we need market efficiency in human life. And
let's take it a little further, right? Like, what if this happened, right, and this became reality? Well, good news for Felix. There would be people who would be like stealing kidney donation valor.
Oh, totally.
Just a guy who like you can literally see the bulge in his kidneys in the back. There are clearly two. And he's like, yeah, I actually gave them to a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be awesome.
I
would
donated.
Probably be the first guy to do that.
Yeah, buddy, I donated both my kidneys. All right, I got none here. That's yeah, but I'm paid. I'm caked up. I don't even need it now.
Imagine like giving a kidney to a soldier that becomes the next American sniper. Those kills are basically yours.
Oh yeah, you get to take credit.
Yeah. It's like being the father of an NFL quarterback.
All right. Well, I think that does it for this week. I want to thank Ben and Palma, Seeking Derangements, for joining us today. Why don't you plug that podcast for our eager audience?
Yeah, me and Palma have a podcast. It's like if Terry Gross stopped being a coward and just said faggot, like we all want her to. Yeah.
He can do it. He can do it. Don't get mad at me.
Yeah, no, okay. We're on iTunes.
What?
Patreon. Yeah, sorry, Amber.
We will have the links here, but check out Seeking Derangements if you're looking for something to listen to.
One more plug.
Yeah.
Incredibly fun and funny show. I give Seeking Derangements the highest praise I can give a podcast, which is when I can't sleep and feel bad, I listen to Seeking Derangements while playing video games alone because all my friends went to bed.
One last plug. If anyone can let us know, or if anyone can help us get Molly Klein on the podcast, please. Oh my God, that I would be able to die peacefully after that. Like I wouldn't care if I died after that. So please, if you have Molly's contact info, please send it over to seekingderangements@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
I will flex all of my personal connections with her.
Oh, absolutely.
No,
Well, you guys Will, you guys have the same supervisor.
Yeah, we have the same handler. We have the same handler.
Yeah.
The way I would describe her is that she's the person for, like, we've seen how Twitter makes people like mentally ill and develop these whole paranoid kind of mind palaces, which, by the way, like, I feel like, just to intervene slightly on that stuff, when someone is being super crazy and you're like, you're fucking crazy, like, yeah, no, they are crazy. Treat them the way you would treat a crazy person if you saw them on the subway platform. You're not going to own or meme them into sanity. So, maybe just politely avert your eyes.
Fave and move on.
Yeah,
retweet if you need to.
just retweet a queen. But, like, Molly is the person who we never even saw her evolution. So, like, she has this mysterious, like, kind of eldritch, possibly sane past. Like, we don't know her story. so she's like this very intriguing, very early insane online leftist that, we don't know the backstory. So I think if you guys could get that, I mean, I would.
That'd be a great episode.
Oh, yes.
Let's do it.
Well, Amber, what do I do when I see a crazy person on the subway? I invite them to do Showtime with me in a classic NYC moment.
And then anyone
can do Showtime. Yeah, the slow clap on the train.